Oh, well, hello, my wonderful brothers and brothers of the Maverick Nation. I'm the Direction Maverick, and I just woke up. However, that will not deter me from bringing you lovely people content, and if it seems like I'm shaking, it's kind of like that thing where whenever you have your leg in that one position, and it won't stop jittering. If any of you can see that, I'm sorry, but this is right now where I feel comfortable. Um, have you guys ever heard of cross what ifing? If it already isn't a term, then I am glad to have invented the term cross what ifing. But really, it would only be cross what ifing in between my own what ifs. Because I don't feel like, stealing from other people more than I already have. I mean, come on, my poor boy, the crown fiend. Guy gotta live too. I gotta live too. I mean, I'm not completely stealing from him. I'm just taking a few ideas. I still have mad respect for the man. Hmm. And you people might be wondering, oh, what cross what if would I be doing? Well, technically, I think all of these are kind of gonna be cross what ifs. Like, what would happen if this character from this what if met this character from this what if? Yeah. Hmm. But still, I am not to say. This is basically part 4 of What If Izuku Was Tatsumaki. You know that character from One Punch Man? I hope you would know by now. So, yeah. And plus, this part will be a direct continuation of the last part. So, everything that happened in part 3 will apply to part 4. And that is, you know, that also means like all of the new pro heroes and shit. And the new family and just everything that part 3 created will be in pretty much established new parts. Part 4 will have what part 3 created. Part 5 will have what part 3 created. Because part 3 is going to kind of be like a stepping stone. Because it's like the last ditch effort of the story to where we can branch out and we can, like, go wild. However, as for part 4, I'm going to take one of my more, let's just say out there what ifs, and let it shine, let it shine. Because I think it does deserve a little bit more spotlight than it gets. You know, it was around the time of What If Izuku was Air Sans. It was like back to back with that. I was uploading that, and I was also uploading the other one at the same time. So, I think that the amount of views that they have or likes should at least be equal to each other, but no, apparently that is not the case. I guess mass favoritism. A lot of people like one more thing than they do another. So basically, we're going to start part 4 off with something akin to a freaking spaz attack. Because that is literally the name of the villain who would be attacking the city. Spaz attack. And his other villain friend, Biggest Amariclius. Yes, Biggest Amariclius. Biggest has some sort of gigantification quirk, and the other guy, I already forgot his damn name. What the? Basically, one of them has an electricity quirk, and the other one has a gigantification quirk. So, yeah. And they can actually use their quirks in tandem, like charge the electricity quirk into like the other person while they're using their gigantification quirk to make the widespread electricity like just have a longer range and like an overall field of effect. I mean, not field of effect, area of effect. I'm an idiot. So, yeah. Basically, these two guys, they are wanting to cause some bedlam. Just so happens they doing it in the wrong city. Doing it in the very wrong city. Because the city they're doing it in, Jesus. Just so happens that this city just so happens to be the city in which the Yagis live. That's right. And you know who Yagi oh will be on the scene? First responder. Yeah. That'd be the terrible tornado hero Tatsumaki. Yes. Would charge in. But before charging in completely, would assess the situation and figure out the best way to take these two guys out. Basically, he could really just do this like quick and in a hurry, hush hush, under the rug, all really freestyle. And so she's going to move in, and she's going to do it. Well, he is. Damn. The reason why I keep on saying she is because, whenever you're doing a what if about Tatsumaki and shit, Tatsumaki is a girl, so, my mind gets messed up. That's why I keep on saying she. All for those of you that don't know. And as Izuku would move in, it would be go time. As the giant quirk person would swing, and automatically Izuku would dodge teleportation, land on his head, and then kick the back of it. Then another arm, swing, and dodge again. You gotta be fast enough to hit me that, hard, that big boy. And you would just be like, don't you make fun of me. Ah! And just be like, okay, now this is just pathetic. Just psychically hold his arm like, BAM! And then the electricity court guy would be like, what the hell? The number one hero? But why are they here? I'm here. Don't you think it's obvious by now? You're messing up my city. That's why I'm here, Jugheads. Now, prepare to pay the price. Psychic World. Enhancement True Darkness. And yes, this new little ability is kind of a fusion of the two, like full cowling and the Esper quirk. Yes, Psychic World, falling through darkness. Not falling through darkness, falling through darkness. And that will just mess the electricity villain up bad. And then it would be the giant villain who would just go for a body slam and then be like, yeah, no thanks. Now, Psychic World, True World Darkness. And it would just send a bunch of energy blasts at him. But most of them would get absorbed and sent right back. And Izuku would be like, perfect. Now, Psychic World, True World Intent. And then they would explode all around the person, knocking them out and disabling their quirk. In doing so, because their quirk only works whenever they're conscious. So they can only become giant whenever they're conscious. Now, just as Izuku was about to let the authorities do the whole thing with, taking these guys in, starts to feel something. Feel that something isn't right. And, a good thing to know about this is that over the years, I'd say around this time, Izuku is 20, and since there's like a 5-year difference, now Sonic would be 15, and he would be attending UA, where, yes, Toga there would be a teacher. In fact, she's the actual new homeroom teacher of Class 1A, because Aizawa retired. And he also trusted Toga to be, credible in their hand. Yeah, Aizawa he kind of screwed the pooch on that one. Well, I guess that was multiple people's opinions the first time around. But Toga, approved to be, a credible teacher. So, yeah. Now she is the homeroom, and, here, of course, Class 1A teacher. She is the new teacher of Class 1A. Now that Sonic is in UA, because he smashed that entrance exam. And, well, basically, all the training that he was doing of the 10 months for his own entrance exam, because he was sure as hell not getting through recommendations. He would not let himself go through a recommendation course. So all the training he's been doing has been allowing him to sense whenever bad mojo is going down. Like a ninja's foresight. Like a danger sense. Oh god, that's a one for all user quirk thing. Anyways, basically, he would call up Izuku telling him to get home fast. It doesn't seem safe around there still. It's almost like there's another force still. And this one's even stronger than the two ones you just kicked their ass. And so Izuku would be like, huh? I don't see anyone. And that's whenever it would happen. Something very, very unexpected for the number one hero, to be honest. Soon, there would indeed be a feeling, a cold stretch, throughout the entire area. As Izuku would yell for people to move, and that's whenever a red blast would come down, incinerating the bodies of both villains, and even knocking away several other people like they were nothing. Just simple traffic cones to be ignored. And then the person would come down. If they would be upside down and in the middle of the air. And that's whenever they would flip around and simply say, "Oh my, Mr. Number One Hero. I do indeed see that is something of a quirk you have there. Or two. How interesting. Here I am, just come straight out of hell, and now I already have something to greet me. A surprise." Ah, yes. Hell isn't exactly that inviting. So, I rather got myself some friends. More than I already had, mind you, but it is indeed nice to have a loyal company. For example, snap the finger, and all of a sudden, Kokuto! And Izuku would be wondering, Who is this person talking about? Who's a coked? Bleh! All of a sudden, from the side, there would be a stab wound, and then she would see a person. I am Kokuto. And then the other person would be like, yes, Kokuto, you've served me well. And now, for this entire city and the rest of Japan, let them know that I plan to rule both the world of the living and the world of the dead. However, it won't be easy. I'll still do it. No one can stop me now. My power even transcends the great Yuhabak. Now my power transcends him. I am pretty much unstoppable. So, what do you say to that, number one hero? And that's whenever all of a sudden torrents of ice and fire, and then all of a sudden blasts of explosive energy would rain down. And that's whenever the person would simply say, "Oh yes, Shoto Todoroki and Bakugo Katsuki." Like, Katsuki Bakugo. Ah, it's a shame you're so weak. Bakudo 88. No, 88 or 81. I'm gonna make a safe trip and say 81. Bakudo number 81. Danku. And will this bear that will be summoned, apparently Danku, would make their attacks pretty much useless. Now, how should I finish this? Then again, I could always just Kurahitsugi. Like, Hado number 90. Kurahitsugi. Now you die. In this, you die. And the giant black box would appear to swirl all around them, engulfing them. That is, until something extra comes into play. Something unexpected. It's a wonder how it happened at all. Then again, whenever you think of how close they were, I guess some people will just do some things for anyone. All of a sudden, a stabbing pain. What? How? And that's whenever all of a sudden, this new support gear hoverboard stuff is surely indeed something to behold. I have to thank Sonic later. He pre-ordered these for me off of May in her little new support gear shop that she, Let's build it from the ground up. And Izuku would be like, shh, no, Tenko, cuz? And there Tenko would be. He would literally have just jabbed his hand into the back of the person who was about to kill them with gravity, basically. Basically, the person would be like, futile effort. Blade Slash would attack at Tenko. And Tenko would barely just be able to avoid a fatal blow. Yeah. What the hell is this guy? He's summoning swords out of nowhere. And then the person would simply say, it's true. I am Izuku Midoriya, but from another world, another dimension. And then our Izuku would simply just say, then why don't you just go and stay there? And then the other Izuku would say, because I'm not wanted. However, I will force this place to be my stomping ground. Once I've crushed all of you, there will be no one to stop me. So I think that's a good enough deal. Submit or die. Maybe I'll give you a good enough position in my army. An army that will take over both the world of the living and the dead. My soul society. To create it. And that's just whenever Tenko would be like, you're crazy, you know that? And Koto would charge straight at him. But that's whenever Izuku would be, revealing the whole time that, she was actually faking how damaged she was. And that's whenever her eyes would glow and the levitation would be kicked in full on. And even even his body, his entire body would be glowing. This is the full stage of the espur. And even the more unique glow was a symbolization of full cowling. And it seems that this is full cowling, not 100%, no, only at 90%. Only has to go at 90%. Doesn't really feel that threatened. You know what I was able to do with this? Well, I'll show you. This is the end. Darkness Torrent! Psychic World! The Clockman! And this would simply just send some sort of psychic shockwave towards the other Izuku, pretty much immobilizing him. Or at least it would seem that way, but in all reality, whenever Izuku would look again, he had actually hit Kokuto. And Izuku would be like, what? And then the other Izuku would be like, look from behind you. Shing. And then it would be like, you would just hear two voices say, the hell you are! And then torrents of ice, fire, and explosions would all rain down, circling the other Izuku. And this would kind of make it impossible to do any Bakudo or Hado. So instead, there would be something different tried. Well, I haven't tried this in quite some time. Now, this is where it gets good. Yeah, basically when I'll final form Aizen, like Aizen versus Ichigo fight, and our Izuku would be like, "Get the hell out of there!" Ah, fine, you give me no choice. 100%. Huh? Golden Guild reprehension. And finally, shooting stars of psychic energy would blast down on the other Izuku. And then finally, yeah! Uh, Corchester arrow! And then whenever the arrow would hit, an explosion that would go for miles. However, whenever the smoke was cleared, our Izuku would merely see that it only merely slightly damaged him. The other Izuku. That was something. You actually did manage to damage me. Well, that makes you luckier than others. Now I have respect for you. Kokuto, we're leaving. Kokuto would think, yes, master. If it pleases you, then we will leave. And so, they just up and leave. No questions asked. And so, yeah. You could imagine this wouldn't have to paint the best picture. This picture would be painted now. Invaders coming from seemingly some other dimension. Invaders whose true intentions aren't really known. Invaders who don't seem to be happy. The two invaders being another Izuku and an individual named Kokuto. They said they came from another dimension's hell. Or at least that's what it seemed like. And they seemed to carry swords with them. And it's almost like the sword had an effect on Izuku's ability. Because he thought he was hitting someone, but he was hitting someone else in actuality. What was this power? Izuku needed to know. I mean, if they were going to be the #1 hero, they needed to know the weaknesses and strengths of their enemy in order to minimize civilian casualties and keep everything in the peace. Everyone's feathers should be ruffled after an experience like that. A battle in the sky, with the top 3 heroes fighting against just one simple person who only really seemed to have a sword and some sort of magic spells that they just flung around at the ready. This person also looking very similar. Deathly similar. Izuku would later figure out that there was indeed some truth to other dimensions, and that if this is indeed the case, they might have a problem on their hands. They have heard from many a case that there are several different Izukus, and several of them can be quite a problem. Especially one known as Hollow Izuku. This one you do not want to engage in battle with. In fact, most reliable sources say to stay the hell away from Hollow Izuku at all costs, even if it means abandoning your family and friends, to just stay the hell away. But Izuku couldn't do that. It wasn't in Izuku's heart to just do that. Plus, they were the #1 hero, the symbol of peace, and they had been that for quite some time. And they were even going on their honeymoon with Nejire, dearest. And that's just it. They hadn't told Nejire, and Izuku didn't think Nejire was there, so having to break the news to Nejire about what was going on, well, that was going to suck so much. However, Izuku had to think about the people, what this would do to them, their safety. That Hollow Izuku person, at least that's the one who the closest describes, that person, all this talk about life and death and an army, it all seems too crazy to be real. Those attacks, they felt otherworldly. Like this figure was already dead. Was that fact a reason why they brought up hell? Izuku didn't know. Honestly felt like they were having a headache a second. And so whenever Sonic came home after his first day of UA, which, as expected, was indeed some type of quirk apprehension test. Well, assessment, not apprehension. Assessment test. Sonic began to realize their brother was too tired to play. And even Shigaraki Tenko looked exasperated after having that little rush with an uncanny sort of thing. And even whenever trying to get in touch with Shoto and Bakugo, they really didn't have much to say either, except for how weird it all was. Even the sources that they found was more or less just to stay away as well. That it wasn't worth their time to just throw their lives away trying to fight this Hollow Izuku. I mean, that's the closest that they could get to the description of the Izukus. And, well, the sources were all telling them to stay away if they wanted to live. This did not look good. However, something did indeed seem to come from this. After Bakugo would have, gotten out the messages, gotten off his computer, he would have indeed heard something, or someone. Someone rustling through the bushes. Bakugo would call out, "Who's there?" And then all of a sudden, someone will fall out. Damn ads. As this other figure would begin to sit up, Bakugo would realize it was like a mirror image of him. Only they were wearing weird clothing, and it seemed odd that they could see the other figure. And as the figure with the weird clothing would then begin to gather themselves and even stand up, they would realize that the weird figure had a sword, yet did not seem to be aligned with this Hollow Izuku. Sorry about that. Uh, uh, where even am I? This doesn't seem to be at all like. No, this is different. This is not where I'm supposed to be. Or is it? No, I have to look deeper. There it is. There's a spiritual pressure. Though he's too far away now. I have to collect myself before I can go after him again. And that's whenever this other figure, noticing that Bakugo was there, would explain everything. That he was another version of Katsuki Bakugo, basically who he was, and that this whole thing was more or less an incident and then a terrible turn of events that ended up with Izuku in hell, recruiting Kokuto to be part of his army, and then getting out of hell, and basically becoming an even worse threat than Yuhabak. And he was pretty bad. So, yeah. Now, with an actual reliable source of information, and, well, they also had a sword. So, yeah. This was going to get crazy. It seemed that in the dimension where they came from, some event caused Izuku to become this creature known as Hollows, and Hollows don't seem to have the capacity for, like, emotional stuff. At least the original Great Hollows. And so, Izuku believed for his entirety of him being a hollow, that he was completely empty, and without any of that sentimental stuff. And that he had given it all the way up to Bakugo, and that's why it was so easy for him to feel after Izuku had died. Feel for others, that is. And Bakugo would admit that it was feeling a little bit easier to feel for others. Though he still had a little bit of his personality left. His usual personality, that is. However, that wouldn't stop that he was technically now pretty much lieutenant level Shinigami. And his job now that he had gotten back onto the trail of things was to continue the hunt for Izuku Midoriya. Release the Izuku Midoriya from his dimension. The other Bakugo, our Bakugo, trying to digest this all in and, feed it through to everyone else. Basically, when everyone finally got it down, they didn't really know what to think. However, Izuku, on the other hand, thinking the other version was so strong, and so fast, and so much everything. It's like they were leagues above by such a large margin. What are they supposed to do against something like that? And that's whenever the other Bakugo would simply say to stop doubting yourself, and that as long as you doubt yourself, that is when you will fall. You have to get back up from your fall in order to become truly strong. This would have not exactly been the best moments for our number one hero. But at this point, what do you think was going to happen? This was not the best time for anyone. Not the best time for anyone at all. Damn ads. It is indeed something that disturbed both sides. And for many reasons. It seems like the madness would never end. However, they would have to keep their heads up strong, as they couldn't let themselves loose after this darkness. This darkness could not defeat them. And that's whenever eventually, exhausted, Izuku, during his nap, would see a figure. Are you really supposed to be their number one hero? You look like a clown. Always going around trying to please everyone. What a joke. Izuku would feel enraged at being insulted like that, and run after the figure, though they would disappear and go behind Izuku and simply say, "You are the one who needs saving. Saving from yourself. Tell me, what is the difference in between the king from his horse?" Killer instinct. Though your little hero of society says no to killing. However, whenever it comes down to you or them, what really is going to be the option? Don't you get it? I am the only way you're going to be able to do it. I am the one way. And Izuku would simply say, "So give in to temptation? No way." Figure would simply say, "Temptation? No, my friend. Simply play along is all I'm asking." Oh, I see it. I can hear it. The rain. I've always hated the rain. Every time you get like this, that's whenever it rains. You know that? You don't necessarily have to have a Zanpakuto in order for you to have a sort of inner turmoil within yourself that does indeed dislike the rain. If you keep on acting like this much more, you're going to flood the place. Conflict within yourself. Why don't you just resolve it by just once? Just once. We can get rid of them. We can show our power. Music would simply say, "No, I can see through you. You're just a figment of, figment of," and the other figure would say, "Figment of all of your worst fears and sadnesses throughout such an experience as Kyokatsugetsu, blade known to bring the complete and total hypnosis. Perfect hypnosis. Why not? Let's just all be friends here. No need to be harsh. That's whenever Izuku would start to break down. And then he would finally realize there was no point. This was a battle. You would have to fight on both fronts. And so the figure would go. And now we begin. However, the other figure would be startled by something that Izuku actually let it stab it. No, do you know what you did just now? And Izuku would be like, yeah, I won. Let's see the other Izuku do that. Let's see the other Izuku beat this. Now, I have what I need. I have what I need to win. All I have to do is find them. They don't exactly look like they're hiding. Or that they would be someone to hide. No, quite to the contrary, actually. And that's whenever the other Izuku would appear behind him. And then Izuku would just simply say, outside. We're taking this outside. And then Hollow Izuku would want to say something, but will be stopped with a simple grab to the face, and then BAM! I said we're taking this outside! And then just simply throw Hollow Izuku while pummeling him. And finally, smash! Hollow Izuku would be like, what the hell? Where'd you get this power from? A friend inside of me. I've mastered my turmoil. I've mastered my pain and suffering. How about you? No. You let your pain and suffering, your turmoil, your despair, you let it all master you. Well, my friend, I'm not going to go down that road. For now, this ends. And then Holly would just simply say, you want to defeat me? Well then, allow me to show you. This is my true power. Now, how do you feel about being able to defeat me? How do you feel about being able to defeat this? And Izuku would just simply say, I feel great as ever. Now, how about you? Before I chop your ass. This is the end of all things that you have done. You're finished. Then just simply all the energy of one sword stuck in the hand, and then the psychic energy surrounding the hand, like almost like a rotisserie blade. This is 100,000,000% smash. And Izuku, like Hollow Izuku, would just be like, what? 100,000,000%? And basically just be like, yeah. And my friend there, the other Bakugo, I think he has something to say to you too. He would just simply say, Final Getsuga Tensho! Now it's time! Mugetsu! And the transformation would take place. Mugetsu would cover their bodies completely, as in like a dark shroud. This dark green would hover over them like a dragon. This is it. You're finished. 100,000,000% final Getsuga Tensho. And he's basically Hollow Izuku would be trying to comprehend this. 100,000,000% final Getsuga Tensho? There's no way that could even be possible. That's impossible. There's no way. Hollow Izuku would keep on telling himself this. There's no way they could be that powerful. There's no way that they could just overcome all of their despair like that. They put them in true despair. He had put them in true despair. How did they climb out? This doesn't make any sense. And Bakugo would just say, Izuku, just go to sleep. And stay in hell while you're at it. They would simply say, 100,000,000% final Getsuga Tensho! And finally, after all of that, Hollow Izuku would simply say, You bastards. However, Hollow Izuku would simply start to fade away. The last bit of energy simply being a rose. One last thing to leave at Izuku's grave. Izuku from the other dimension, that is. However, seeing as power of the power of, you know, the other side, the Shinigami was used, seeing as power of the Shinigami and the power of One for All, the other Bakugo's Shinigami powers weren't stolen from them. In fact, they were stronger than ever. The other Bakugo would have to thank Izuku for this. But that's just the thing. The other, basically, Izuku would have basically tapped out at this. They just pretty much used up their entire body's worth of energy and more, pushing far past their limits, going all the way to 100 million%. And that is dangerous. Bakugo, the other Bakugo, would simply say, "Thank you, my friend." This has been a wild ride, but I'm at least glad that I was able to have it with someone like you. And finally put to rest the soul of my old friend. Maybe now that his soul has been put to rest, finally. Maybe now he can finally be at peace. That's it. I have to get back to my home dimension. Well, sorry about the whole abrupt thing and all, but I have things I have to do in my own dimension. So, and just open up a Garganta and just leave. Thanks anyways. And well, basically everyone would be like, that was so cool. Sonic would basically just be like, that was so cool. Oh, and I gotta ask, where is, you know, where's Bro's girlfriend? And Tenko would say, oh, Nejire should be coming by soon. And then Nejire would just be like, what the hell was that? And Sonic would be like, when are you and Bro gonna, tie the knot? And Nejire would be like, enough questions about that. I've heard enough questions about that for a lifetime. Just from the press. Where is he? Is he purposely trying to get? Is he purposely trying to get himself killed? All this hero work, I keep on getting more worried about him day by day. And that's whenever Izuku would simply say, hey, darling. And Nejire would just be like, don't you darling me? And Izuku would just be like, well, I did indeed almost get myself killed. Yes, that is indeed true. But look on the bright side. Maybe in the future, if we do indeed tie the knot, Sonic will finally have someone to play with that isn't Tenko, so we can finally have some alone time. And Nejire would just be like, well, you're just looking for something to change the subject. And so, yeah, the rest of the day would basically just be, the usual. And that is after, the reconstruction of all the stuff that was broken during the big fight scene. And so, yeah. Basically, Yeah, everything would get back to normal. Part 4, this has been part 4. Yes, on to analysis, because the Dark Shadow member is OUT out of here. Ya boys. Bye.